And here we go. Good morning, everyone. I had to get an extra light. I guess our lights in the house are not that bright when it's still dark outside. So I had to come in the house to do my reading. Interesting night. I feel like I work at night during the day here in this world and at night in spirit world somehow. And it seemed like my whole dream was around how people can give 100% of themselves. I often get asked, how do you stay so happy or content, or how. And the one thing that I know from all through my life is that I tried to do everything that I did, always with gusto and zest, and it didn't matter what it was. This is Ham. I got my granddaughter visiting, and Ham is her dog, and he's visiting too, aren't you? Yeah. What went on out there, huh? Looks like the other two went after something. Our door's always open, even in the wintertime. Sometimes it just depends on what the weather is like. So they go in and out, and so that's kind of always been my way of doing things. And last night it seemed like people would, it's like this dream where people were mowing this, that, and they were all done. There was nothing going on anymore, and I would get there, but the mowing isn't done here. And that was, kind of missed a strip here. And I'll just look, why didn't that get done, all the way to where then it looks really nice and neat. Yes. Anyway. And I realized when I woke up in a way, how do you teach people anything anymore, really? To do it to perfection, if one wants to call that. Can one do that? I think one can. So that many times when I think back on what I've done all in my life, I loved doing everything just.
Look at the postcard I just made.
Oh, wow. You just made that?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You colored it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really pretty, Danny. A big old lion. A roaring lion. You better not make that one mad or stand in his way. Nice job, Danny. I'm going to do my morning reading here, okay? Okay. All right. So let's get going here. And then I came across this, our next prayer in our prayer book. This one. Prayers by Reverend Sun Myung Moon to our Father in Heaven. Please let us experience what you felt in your heart as you dealt with this people and humankind. Father, please take pity on this people. We imagine that from the time that your providential will appeared in this land until now, this people did not know where to go, and this has caused you great sorrow, Father. We earnestly hope and desire that you will bear with this people once more. You have said that whatever is loosed on earth will definitely be loosed in heaven. In the same way, we have a deep longing in relation to this people. And even though we have sorrow in relation to the people of the world, when we consider that you have hope for this nation, this people, and this world, we feel that we also must have new hope. I sometimes think, where does one really start with all this? And I think it always starts with oneself. There's just no getting away from. What amazes me is that there are a lot of good people in this world. And then there are people who are kind of in between, right? Yeah, good and bad. And then there are bad people. They're just bad. They're just bad. It is black and white. And I always say, I know, and I still do that. I always find one good thing in a person, right? At least. And then there are just the beasts. That there is, I'm not sure how one can murder and hurt others in the way that they do, torture them for their some kind of a power trip or something, their own power trip. How the heck are people like that possessed by something most people can't see? Huh, Jake? Did you guys come back? Oh, you're back too? Huh? I got my audience here now. And then how children are affected by that. So I'm thinking, well, if every parent out there that has a child would treat that child appropriately, right? And one would think, is that really so difficult? Is that so difficult? It is. I've just witnessed a situation here where, child wasn't physically abused, but the one thing, never raise the hopes of your children and then just dash them for your own selfish desires, for your own selfish, absolutely selfish, just no nonsense. Yeah. For your own nonsense. There. Not no nonsense. The other way. It was absolutely awful and horrific to watch that. And I'm not going to get any further into it. There is a lesson to be learned there. And hopefully that will go in a better direction in the future. And then there was another incident where I had to realize you can't say anything. You just can't. It's been something long in the past, and yet got a phone call and saw the name, and I'm going, I better not pick that up. I better not pick up that phone. Why not? Because there were other circumstances and other people involved, and this wasn't the right time. Yeah. Why not? Huh? Why not? Yeah. So one realizes you're helpless in certain situations where you're going to have to let it go and say only as much as actually is accepted and acceptable, right? And hopefully a seed is planted where then it will go someplace. But that one has to do that, especially when children are involved, or that someone will escape jail and castration, in my opinion, because adults are involved who, oh dear me, this and that, disregarding the pain of the children. It's surprising to me, and as I said, I'm confronted with it. Do I just let it go? No. I wait, and I wait for direction from Spirit World, and then when the time is right, that hammer will come down. Oh, but then that's, no. Adults do not need to be babied. Adults do not need to constantly be stroked for their unacceptable behavior in society and around their children or in the family. So, yeah, it's coming. People think, oh, she's so, just wait. All right, so this people, this world, God has to do the same thing. Again, this prayer really reflects on the fact that God has to just wait. He has to wait until the right time. And then things start to happen. And then people have to suddenly start paying attention. And then when they do that, often big things change. Yeah, it's a coming. Oh, D-Day, Doomsday. I don't consider that. Hope. We feel that we also must have new hope. Because until now, there has to be someone responsible to offer sacrifices of atonement for our wrongdoings and inadequacies. We must feel once again that we are those who must control our sorrow. What did I just say? Put on the blood-stained garments of the chief priest, and in the direction of the Holy of Holies, bow down before you, Father. Father, when we think about your deep heart of love for this people and the course of difficulties that you have gone through for this people, and how much we are able to attend you and to praise you in this day, we cannot help but realize that we must always feel how unworthy we are. In my dream, which went on all night, I remember driving in something, and I had the weed eater in the back of whatever vehicle I was in with someone else, which could have been my sister-in-law because she's my my mowing grass buddy here. And to go after people. Okay, let's stop here and finish up, right? What they started. And in a way, this prayer really reflects that, okay, you have to just take on certain things, at least when it comes to atone or right disturbing things that are going on out there, and include yourself. Even though you're not included, include yourself. Include yourself, and then look at them going, well, no. No, I dare to say no. And make that visible, right? Yes. Where is this place? It's up on top of the mountain. I'm not surrounded by anybody else, really, when it comes down to it, except for when people come here. And otherwise, I don't have anything to do with the outside world. Some of the stuff that's going on out there, I'm just laugh about it. There's nothing else but to laugh about it. Or I could cry, but I'm not going to waste my tears on nonsense. I'm not going to do that. But I always try to, okay, how is this possible? This division, people are, okay, we're divided, right? Okay, divided in I say ideas or how things should be done, in our opinions. We're divided in our opinions. Right? But really, what we're divided by is good people, bad people, and really bad people, beasts. I don't consider them humans anymore. They're not human, okay? I don't know what they have evolved into. Oh, wait a minute. Murder happened at the beginning of the Bible. Yes. Yeah. How are beasts born? How are they born? Someone said, I don't like people calling sins these deadly sins. You really? Well, that's what they are. Murder is a pretty deadly sin now, ain't it? What are people talking about when they come up with things like this? I don't like it. They shouldn't be called that. What do you want to call it then? I'm not sure. What do you want to call it? That's one best example that there is. Whatever the other ones are, you break someone's heart. That's a deadly sin. It just is, if you like it or not. If you break a child's heart, that's a uber deadly sin. How's that? Don't like that either? Well, it's black and white to me. And I'm not going to be quiet about things like that. Now, again, certain circumstances, you have to kind of weave your way into it and then say, no, that's a problem. We got to undo that again. That's not a good weave. This is all. I made my own loom, and Danny's been weaving as well. And I just made a nature picture with vines. And so, well, there's a little bit more leeway. Well, if you have those, you can't see the mistakes as well. But with when you use yarn or anything, if there's a mistake in it, it's visible. You make that many mistakes, suddenly your project doesn't look as good anymore. Yeah, but, no. If you see the mistake, undo it. That's what I do. Sometimes I had to undo a whole lot. I didn't see that. I could just leave it. No. If something says, no, don't leave it. Don't do that. All the work you're putting into it, and then you're letting that go. Right. Yeah. People have to just, they're not going to get from me, oh, yeah, I understand. It's like, no, I don't understand. How come you can't be a good person? 100% a good person? That's not possible? I think it's possible. I think it's absolutely possible. So, not hearing any more of them excuses either. I'll tell you what, over the last couple of years, there were some things, and I guess you learn as you go. Right? Yes, as well. But learn as you go. Okay? Learn as you go. And I've come to the realization, I know right from wrong. Why do I keep making excuses? Or just not saying anything? Or just, well, that's you. Why can't I? As a good person, consider myself a good person. Why can't I? That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. There is no right to be had in there. And that one thing, it's such a simple thing. Right from wrong. Abstain from the gray areas. And say, no, they're not. Yeah. The only reason why a color is more dominant than another one's because you keep stirring more of it in it. You stir up black and white, it's gray. It doesn't matter what you do after that, it just stays gray. There's no way it'll ever be white again. Oh, unless you add a lake to it, a lake of white or a lake of black. But it'll never be in its pure form anymore, right? It has to just, you got to throw it out. Okay. I have to have another bottle of white, another bottle of black. Okay. Yes. And these two colors are clearly separate. So hard to understand for people, I guess. Yeah. First, you got to know, though, right, that you got to know that. And if people have a hard time with that, know what's right and wrong, then again, just 10 Commandments, that's all you need, plus the Lord's Prayer. That's all you need. Say them every day for a year. Right? Yeah. I guarantee you know what's black and white after that. As we go forward believing in you, Heavenly Father, we have forgotten this people and this world. But have you at any time ever forgotten this people or this world? Or have you ever forgotten about humankind? Each time you were moved by loneliness, you were denied by humankind to your face. But after that, you sought to hold humankind again. That is exactly what your situation has been. You have sought a father-son relationship with the heart of a parent. Because we must experience this directly, not only through words, not only through words. We earnestly hope that you will allow each one of us to awaken to this once again. We pray all these things in the name of the true parents, Jesus. Amen. Amen. June 28th. That's my mother's birthday. 1970. Well, it's one of those things when you go, if you know the Bible, you go to the beginning, even if you don't know the Bible. When Adam and Eve committed a sin that had to do with going from purity to becoming impure due to the fact that they weren't spiritually grown yet, and committed an act that was not part of the principles of love. And they couldn't stay in the Garden of Eden. They couldn't stay, basically, in the embrace of God. Oh, so you think God threw them out of the Garden of Eden? Huh? Well, that's so convenient then to make God the bad guy, right? Yes. Yeah. No, God, our Father in heaven, our heavenly parent, always stayed the good guy. Right? But Adam and Eve were both so easily swayed by a bad guy who turned into a really bad beast. And that was an angel. Right? The archangel Lucifer, for one reason or another, turned on God, on his creator. The consequences are pretty horrific, especially when it comes to the abuse of children, mentally or physically. Unbelievable. Unbelievable what's happening out there. And on how people are dealing with that is also pretty horrific. With all kinds of substances that are suppressing the actual issues they should be dealing with in a different way. My next chapter in the book, I'm supposed to, chapter 8, spiritual existence, and how physical and spiritual existence coexists, and how it doesn't coexist, how it can get polluted. You think there are gray areas there? You betcha. Heaven and hell, if one wants to call it hell. I have no problem with the word heaven. But hell does not. If, in a way, hell is explained on how that works, then everyone would be in line with, right? Yeah. Everybody would be in line with good. There's no way. If people actually were to believe that hell is the way it is described or taught, there's a barred owl out there. What is it? Ham? What's the matter? Go see your master. She's in the bedroom. He's a city dog, so certain noises that he hears here, he's not happy with. And it's dark still out there. Huh? What's the matter? Huh? What's the matter? Well, come over here. What's the matter? Huh? What's the matter? Yeah. So, do I treat all the dogs the same here? Well, as I said, he's a city dog. He's here on vacation for a few days. So I have to, okay, you're all right. It's okay. Huh? It's okay. It does that such a big deal for me to pay a little extra attention to him? So he's, yeah, make him comfortable. Now, of course, the treats will always do it. Right? You hear that barred owl out there? Huh? Yeah, he's not. What's going on? Are we safe? Is my girl safe? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, if people were to actually believe that, if every Christian out there were to believe that, hell, yeah, fire, I don't know. They would never commit another sin if they truly believe that. Yeah. Okay, well, but that does exist. Okay, then go and burn your hand. Big time. All right? And then that's what you believe. That's happening. That kind of pain. All over your body. Inside and outside. You are in hellfire. You believe that. You would never commit another sin. Absolutely not. And you would try every which way to teach us to not do that. It is the most painful thing this not do. People like to believe that. But they're not acting like they're believing it. They're definitely not. The people who just decide that there's no God, no afterlife, that's a good one too. Is that, so you sleep better? Are you sleeping better? With all the evidence scientifically that we have out there on how things work, to not believe in a creator and to not believe in spiritual life after death is pretty hilarious to me. It sounds very ignorant to me. Yeah, well, it's black and white. Look, guys, it's not, well, but there isn't. If you have truly ever experienced a good prayer life, then you know. That's it. That's all it takes. The 10 Commandments and the Lord's Prayer. If you're a believer or a non-believer, doesn't matter what beliefs you come from, religion you come from, the 10 Commandments and the Lord's Prayer. Say that every day for a year. Then you know. You will also know what heaven is, and you will also know truly what hell is. I can sit here and talk for hours and write 50,000 books. Yeah, well, that'll never happen. I can never even make it through one. And give the absolute 100% best of me when it comes to all that. But if people are not willing to just take a simple exercise, which anyone can do, it doesn't matter what your capabilities are in any way. If you cannot even do a simple exercise like that and then come back and say, okay, now let's talk. Otherwise, there is no talking to be done. There is no give and take to be had. And the excuses and the gray areas and I don't know what in people's lives will continue on and on and on and on. And then when, as I said, things get to the point where you're going, how did people fix that in their mind that that's okay? A good person doesn't go and beat up another person for a difference of lifestyle or this or that, which some people have taken. They consider themselves good people, God's people, have well, we can do that because we're on God's side. Well, okay, God's never beaten anybody up. Adam and Eve were not thrown out of the Garden of Eden because God said, well, you can't stay here anymore. They couldn't. They physically, spiritually couldn't stay in that Garden of Eden anymore. The environment was too pure, too set, unchanging in the principles of creation and the principles of love. So that 100% connection and give and take with God wasn't possible anymore after Adam and Eve sinned. That's a fact. So it wasn't God who threw them out of the Garden of Eden. They couldn't stay there because now they had to go and restore themselves. It's like when you drive a car and you decide to drink and drive, then you get caught. And then you get a DUI and your license gets taken away. But then what you have to do to get your license back? Right. Yeah, you could just get back into that car anyway. While you're at it, drink and drive again and go and kill someone. Yeah. Oh, now you got a lot to restore. Much more to restore, right? Kind of interesting because that's exactly what happened in Genesis in different ways through different people. Yes, yeah. Things are black and white. Yeah. You don't drink and then get in a car and drive. That is probably right there. That's not a good person. That doesn't matter how people think about it. That's not a good person. And frankly, I would say if people who drink and then drive get caught, they should never be allowed to get in a car again. And the reason for that is that you were stopped for a reason. You were caught for a reason. Believe it or not, God cares for you. He really does. He wants to embrace you. He wants you to stop what you're doing so that you're not accrue an even greater sin, like killing someone, swerving into someone, killing a whole carload of people. Accidents already otherwise happen. Why? Why do something like that? That every person has the capability of making the proper choice when it comes to that. But sorry, it's black and white. That is black and white. There's no gray areas there. Okay? Yeah? Yes? That's one. The other thing, can we not just get back to meeting someone if you're of marriageable age? That's not a teenager. You're not marriageable age at the age of 16, 17, 18, 19, or 20. Marriageable age, you should be at least 25 years old. Because then you have some time to go and do some things you really want to do as an individual out there. Then, if you've met already someone, you keep it clean. You get to know someone as your best friend. You don't get intimate with them. There is no need for that. Conjugal love is not rocket science. It's very simple and very beautiful if it is kept pure. Yes. Can one say that out there? Well, that is so not modern, isn't it? It's not. I'd say it's absolutely the one thing again in Genesis, in the beginning of humankind, something with spiritual cognitive thinking and all that, is exactly that right there. Went wrong. So it's not an old thing. It's an absolutely new thing. So why not get to know a person as your best friend? Then you know their pros and cons and this and that. Yeah. And then you decide, do we want to stay friends or do we want to get married? And then you go into that relationship 100% pure, both sides. People have such weird ideas out there. Men just go and sow oats kind of thing, right? Whereas the women become automatically, what? Yeah. Oh, but that's not like that anyway. You guys be surprised. How the men are talked about like that, and how the women are talked about like that. And they are both promiscuous out there and very free, loving and giving with their bodies. Yes. And then you enter into matrimony for life. For life. There are no gray areas there either. It is black and white. It just depends on how deep your love runs. Sometimes just a few years with someone is enough. Then if you have a good prayer life, spiritual life, that doesn't mean that you're separated from your spouse just because one of them passes away. Again, that's just another thing. We lost a lot of connection to our Father in heaven when it comes to all that. Can it be? Yeah, absolutely it can be reconnected. It can. That just depends on what people really want out there. People love the gray areas. That's just, and they're awfully unhappy with them all. Yeah. So here I come saying, well, it's black and white. Yeah, you do something about it. Or, yeah. But do I really have to be all that sympathetic? God has to wait until you come back so he can embrace you and then work with you towards restoration. It's a beautiful path. I'm still walking that path as well. And I've become a lot more patient. I've become also more persistent, I noticed. Much more persistent. Yes. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. Sometimes when I listen to people, myself, I come across this attitude of, well, I know it all, and this, that, and then that's it. And if you're not there, well, then I can't help you. I try to make the videos strict in a way, but also where people can jump in, right, to grow together spiritually, right, at any time, and then stick with it and not to go away from it. Right? And the thing is instead of other people coming to tempt us, and you're going, yeah, well, that ain't gonna happen, or no, not doing that. Yeah. And we suddenly become wait a minute. There's one person. We're 100. There's one person. There's no dent to be made, but yet we are getting dented somehow. Right? And suddenly, at least one person saying, you know what? I think I'm going to step over there. I like this better. It actually does work. So how about, I think, this prayer. How can we connect to God, to our Father in heaven again? How can we relieve his loneliness? Read the 10 Commandments and the Lord's Prayer every day for a year. I guarantee you, you're going to make God very happy, number one. And number two, you are going to become very happy. Yeah, there are consequences to that as well. You are going to feel the pain of the world in your heart a lot more. But when one understands how restoration works in our lives as well, that we're not alone, that we have a lot of good spirit world with us, we have a lot of good guidance coming from there, then it can be done. It can. Without violence. Without violence. Doesn't mean you can't yell every once in a while. Just depends what language you use when you yell. It reminds me, please do not cuss and curse. Every time you cuss or curse, remember, not most likely, you are creating an energy right then and there, at the same time as you cuss and curse, a child's being hit, abused, brought to tears. Please remember that. God's love and blessings always, and I will talk to you another time.